Before we begin, let me explain some important Japanese cultural context for this story. In Japan, the location of burial sites and funeral homes carries deep spiritual significance. Building near crematoriums or funeral parlors is considered highly inauspicious due to beliefs about restless spirits. Bone urns called kotsutsubo hold the cremated remains of the deceased and are treated with extreme reverence. Disturbing these sacred vessels is believed to anger the spirits of the dead. Japanese construction sites often perform purification rituals called ohare when supernatural incidents occur. The concept of spirit possession, known as tsukimono, is deeply rooted in Japanese folklore, where vengeful spirits can attach themselves to the living. Now let's begin our story. About 3.5 years ago, I received a commission to design a nursing home. At that time I was living in T-City in Tokyo just as I do now. The project location was in M-City, right next to where I lived. I was already working on the design for a hospital expansion in H-City. Since this new job was conveniently located between my current project and my home, I gladly accepted the offer. I was called for the initial meeting and headed to the construction site for the first time. I thought it would take about 15 minutes by car from my house. I drove along the Oldford Ring Road for about 10 minutes, then turned onto the designated side road. As I drove up the hill, I saw M crematorium directly ahead. I passed through private land beside the crematorium, and finally reached what appeared to be the construction site. Thinking about it now, the location was absolutely terrible. A nursing home just 300 meters from a crematorium. That's hardly pleasant. There was even a funeral home nearby, and nothing else around. The meeting went smoothly without incident. After seeing off the other attendees, I was about to leave, when I noticed an elderly man gazing toward where the nursing home would be built. Was he out for a walk? Curious, I approached the old man and spoke to him. "Are you taking a walk?" The elderly man shook his head and instead asked me a question. "What's being built here?" I pointed to the construction sign and replied, "A nursing home is going up here." The old man said with interest, "Oh, they're building it in such a quiet, nice location. I'd love to spend my final years in a place like this myself." Hearing this, I thought there might be some sarcasm in his words, so I replied, "Location-wise, it might not be very lucky." The old man just laughed. Since I needed to head to the hospital construction site, I said goodbye and drove off. I kept glancing in my rearview mirror as I hurried toward the hospital. Sometime later, I had to attend the excavation for the foundation work. I headed to the construction site. 2 excavator operators were waiting for my arrival and came toward me. One was someone I often worked with on construction sites. He greeted me with a smile. "Please take care of us again today." The other operator was working with me for the first time. He looked nervous as he greeted me. "Please take care of me." After finishing our briefing, we began the excavation. About 3 hours into the digging, the excavator operated by the familiar workers suddenly stopped moving. The operator, whom I'll call Isaac, climbed down to the area he had just excavated. "What's wrong?" I wondered and headed toward the excavator. At that moment, perhaps because the excavation had loosened the ground, the excavator's track section began to collapse. The impact caused the excavator's hydraulic head, which should have been secured, to strike Isaac directly. Panicked, I shouted to the other operator, "Pull up the excavator head." I also climbed down to where Isaac was. Fortunately, Isaac only suffered a severe blow to his arm. I asked him why he had suddenly climbed down. Isaac explained, "There was an old man where I was pointing the excavator head. I thought it was dangerous and stopped the machine, but when I looked, no one was there. I was concerned and wanted to check that spot, so I climbed down. That's when the excavator tilted." He apologized while enduring the pain. I informed the site supervisor that I would take Isaac to the hospital. After treatment was completed and we confirmed no bone damage, Isaac and I decided to return to the site. When we returned to the site in the evening, work had been suspended. Wondering what had happened, I asked the supervisor for an explanation. Well, when we dug where Isaac got hurt earlier, something strange came up. He pointed to a spot. Looking where he pointed, I saw what appeared to be an old pot. What is it? I asked the supervisor. It's bone, sir. It's a bone urn. I was startled and asked, is there nothing else? In construction work, the most problematic discovery is finding archaeological remains at a site. The supervisor replied, just that for now. Hearing this, I felt relieved. From the condition of the bone urn, it looked quite old, so it probably wasn't related to any recent crime. Though it sounds inappropriate, construction sites try to handle minor issues as quietly as possible. Getting involved with archaeological finds or criminal cases inevitably disrupts construction schedules, which all parties want to avoid. After calling the site manager for consultation, we decided to relocate and rebury the bone urn. We dug a hole about 10 meters away from the excavation site, cleaned the bone urn, and buried it properly. Of course, we offered incense and flowers as well. After that, construction progressed smoothly, and the first floor was completed. However, once the first floor was finished, strange things began happening at this site. Accidents started occurring frequently in one particular area. While none developed into fatal accidents, there were serious injuries, severed fingers, bone fractures from falling off ladders, a worker who fell and had a steel rebar pierced through his shoulder, head lacerations from falling objects, one wrong move, and 11 such accidents occurred within a single month. Among the staff, people began saying, could this be because of those bones? I couldn't help but think that might be possible. In our meeting, we decided to have a purification ritual performed on the site's day off. On the day of the purification, blue tarps were used to block the view from outside, surrounding the area where the ritual was conducted. We hoped this would stop the accidents. The accidents decreased, but they didn't stop completely. Why were they happening only in this location? What would happen when this facility was completed? Once finished, this area would become the bathroom. Elderly people falling. That would be no joke. A few days passed with these thoughts. When Isaac called the company, he apparently wanted to talk to me. I had a bad feeling. We arranged to meet at the hospital construction site office. I waited for Isaac, and he arrived right on time. He looked quite serious. What's wrong? I asked, looking at Isaac's face. Isaac replied, things have been strange since that accident. He began to explain. Right after the accident, I wasn't having dreams like this, but lately I've been having the same dream every night. This sounds interesting, I thought, and listened to more. In the dream, that old man appears. He's at that construction site while work is in progress. That's possible, I thought while listening, but then he said something shocking. At the construction site, that old man is clinging to your back, Michael. Hearing this, I couldn't help but shout, why me? Hey, why me? Isaac stammered back. I really don't know either. Of course he wouldn't. If he knew the reason, he probably wouldn't have come to me. But even so, I was troubled to be told such a thing. I was really worried about you, Michael, so I came to see you today. Then Isaac asked me to accompany him to offer incense at the construction site. After being told such a story, I wasn't strong enough to refuse. If we left immediately, we could reach the construction site by after 6 o'clock. We decided to head there right away. In the car heading to the construction site, I asked about the old man Isaac claimed to have seen. Hey Isaac, about that old man you saw, what did he look like? Since Isaac had seen him many times in dreams, he described him in detail. His hairstyle, age range, clothing. I broke out in a cold sweat. It was the old man I had first spoken with. During the drive to the site, I tried to distract myself with other conversation. When we arrived at the construction site, Isaac headed toward the burial location. I was bothered by something and went toward the bathroom area where the exterior was completed. Maybe it was wrong to move the bone urn, I thought as I looked around the bathroom. After a while, I heard Isaac's voice from outside. Michael, I'm finished. Let's go home. Hearing this, I replied, okay, and started to head outside. Suddenly, My legs stopped moving. I don't know how to explain it. I'd never experienced anything like this before. Simply put, it was like a mild state of sleep paralysis. I couldn't move. Gradually, the heaviness spread to my waist and I finally collapsed on the spot. Panicking, I tried to stand up repeatedly. I looked toward my waist, but couldn't see anything. Then I heard a clattering sound. Looking toward the noise, I saw a ladder that had been leaning against the wall falling toward my back. Though it hit me directly, since it struck my back, the damage wasn't too severe. Hearing the sound of the falling ladder, Isaac came to help. "Are you all right?" Isaac helped me to my feet. What was strange was that after helping me up, instead of asking what happened, Isaac said, "Michael, you should offer incense too." Though I found this curious, I decided to follow Isaac's suggestion and offer incense. After offering incense, Isaac and I decided to leave the construction site. On the drive home, Isaac suddenly began apologizing to me. "I'm sorry for causing you to get hurt because of me. Don't worry about it," I said to Isaac with a laugh. Then Isaac said, "Actually, that old man really was riding on your back earlier, Michael." When I heard this, I instinctively hit the brakes hard. I was terrified. I pulled into a nearby convenience store parking lot and asked Isaac, "Do the old man and I have some connection?" Isaac replied, "I don't understand it myself, but I feel like you shouldn't go near that construction site, Michael." Taking his words to heart, I honestly avoided entering the building until it was completed. The nursing home was completed, though it wasn't a large construction project. The number of accidents was the highest of any job I had supervised. Out of 29 accidents, 28 occurred in the bathroom area. As a side note, only the construction site personnel knew about the bone urn incident. No one else knows that a bone urn is buried at that location. I hope nothing happens there. Please. This concludes our story. The dead do not rest easy when disturbed, and some places carry memories that refuse to fade. In Japan, we believe that respect for the deceased is not just tradition, it's protection for the living.